Have you guys ever wondered when you watch people like Mr. Beast or YouTubers who are genuinely popping and they have millions of views and they have a huge audience, when they get on an interview or a podcast or they're trying to connect with people, they sound like they don't know how to speak. They don't know how to speak properly. They don't know tonalities. They don't know pitches. They don't know how to speak in the proper type of way. And there's a lot of people who struggle with this type of thing, right? YouTubers, all of these types of people struggle with this type of thing, to speak properly, to have the right type of way in order to project their voice, in order to change up pitches, in order to talk different. People talk the same. People talk in this monotonous tone, right? They talk in the same way every single time. They speak in a weird way. They don't know how to speak on camera. They don't know how to connect with the people properly, the audience. And if you notice, right, Mr. Beast, he's been speaking longer than me. He's way older than me. He speaks every day. Okay, we speak every day because our voice is like our biggest instrument. A lot of people, I mean, if you're truly out here living, you're actually trying to live, you got to speak to people. You have to speak to people to get in a restaurant. You have to speak to people to go to fast food. You're always speaking, right? You're always speaking every single time you're existing, right? Everything you do, you speak. No matter what. Like, you're always speaking at some point in your life, okay? So all of these people have way longer experiences speaking. So why are they so bad at speaking? Why are there so many people who completely suck at speaking? To cameras, to people, to anything. And I'll tell you right now, it's not what you think it is. It's not, oh, they just need to practice more. They just need to keep, speaking and speaking and speaking. And eventually they'll get better, right? If you just keep practicing something. But that's like me telling you, get a basketball, shoot in your same broken form with two hands and keep shooting. You're going to get better. No, you're not going to get better. You're going to stay bad because you have terrible form, right? So you need someone to tell you your form sucks. Recorrect it. Recorrect your form. And so you recorrect your form, you get a better shot, boom, swish. And then you're practicing with this shot, and now all of a sudden you're making way more buckets and you're doing way better in basketball. How does this even relate though? Like, you might be sitting here thinking, what does this have to do with basketball at all? What does this have to do with anything? I'll tell you right now. The reason why people don't know how to speak is because they're not recorrecting. They're not finding the best way to speak and then trying to live up to that standard. Just like, find the best way to shoot. You're supposed to shoot off one hand, have a guide hand, and then live off that standard, right? Now, all of a sudden, you're practicing that shot, you're getting your form down, and you're making way more shots. Same thing. Practice your form when you speak. Practice your hand movements. Practice your pitch shifting. Practice your volume changes. Practice your energy shifts, right? Practice these things, because when you practice these things, instead of just trying to practice on the way you speak right now and just trying to build off of the way you speak, instead you're going into the deep end by trying to implement all of the hard things that genuine good speakers on stage speak with. Pitch, tonality, right? Changing your pitch, high pitch, low pitch, changing your tonality, right? The way you're going to speak, the way you're going to deliver it, your cadence, the rhythm you're speaking in, your melody, your melodic speech. Changing these up, twisting it around, and just playing around with your voice and seeing what truly works and seeing what truly is beneficial to your style of speaking, right? Now, obviously, we all have different styles of speaking, but when you jump right in to mastery of speech, when you watch people who are really good at speaking, you start to implement what they do into your speech, you will become a master communicator. You will become one of the greatest speakers of all time, because people don't work on this skill. Because when you see this skill, it's so obvious, right? Oh yeah, communication, yeah. I talk to my family every day. I talk to my friends every day. That's how I get my communication, I communicate with them. Now look, you're not wrong, bro. You're communicating, but at the same time, you're not communicating in the best possible way, right? For influence, for people to actually listen to what you have to say, you're not communicating in the best way if you just speak to family and friends. Because whatever way you learn to communicate, you're staying with your past habits instead of developing new ones that are going to cause you to have the best speech and tonality that you possibly can and pitch, right? For people to actually listen to you, for people to actually take in what you're saying and understand and not get bored, right? That's why a lot of these YouTubers need edits. They need quick, flashy clips. They need to put things in text, right? They need auto captions. You know, obviously captions are not the worst thing because a lot of people watch videos without captions. But a lot of people rely on the captions to pop up in flashy ways and flashy imagery and edits and all these things to get any views. So if you work on the skill of communication without having to have all these edits, without having to have flashy edits, flashy things right in your face, pop-ups, all these things, right? If you work on your communication before having to even need any of those, imagine when you add those in. Imagine when you implement flashy text, flashy imagery, flashy text, you know, you add all these things. All of these things combined together, you're going to be the best possible speaker. You're going to get the most amount of views that you possibly can because you actually know how to speak. Because you could turn the camera off, speak, and still be able to deliver, right? And so when you work on these things, when you know how to deliver speaking skills, when you know how to actually implement these in your day-to-day life, to speak to the camera, to speak to people, to speak to anything, right? Speak about anything. And you know how to use your tonality, your pitch, you know how to use your body language to be persuasive. People will listen to you 99 times the time, right? 99% more. They'll listen to you. Because the reason why you're failing to deliver and the reason why people won't listen to you because you're boring. You speak in this monotonous tone every single time. You deliver your speeches and you're like, hey, what's up guys? Today I'm doing another video. Today I just want to speak to you guys about, like, you hear I'm speaking, no one wants to listen to that. No one can sit there for 10 minutes and listen to that unless you're, like, obviously meditating every day or something, or you have extreme focus levels that it doesn't matter, or you're genuinely resonating with the concept that much, right? But people fail to understand that their tone, the pitch, the way they speak, this all has a direct influence on why people or what people are watching, right? Why people are watching and what people are watching you for. If you don't know how to speak, no one's watching you because you're entertaining. They're just watching you because, oh, you might have good information, maybe. But then they get bored and click off anyways. Imagine you're entertaining and you deliver good information. How can you possibly have a better combination than that? You can't. This is the best possible communication that you can have. The best style of communication that you could possibly have, right? Speak with emotions. If you're talking about something that's emotional towards you or towards other people, speak with those emotions as if you're still in that moment. Let's say I was riding my bike, okay? Riding my bike downtown. And out of nowhere, I see this curve, and man, I see the curve. I see it and I register it with my eyes. But I hit that curve and I flip and I hit my ankle. And it felt like it snapped. It was so painful. Like, relive the moment that you just talked about. Don't just say the thing and then just move on. And, that this thing happened. And, you know, I rolled my ankle. Yeah. Say it with emotion. Say it with the emotion you felt in the moment. Go back to those thoughts that you had back then and pull them back up and manifest in the emotion. You can do that. Okay? Another thing a lot of people don't talk about is facial expressions. A lot of people might talk to you about physical movements, body language, move your hands around, you know, have an open body language, open space, all these things, right? But the thing is, right, they don't talk to you about facial expressions. Raise your eyebrows, widen your eyes, you know, move your mouth in certain ways, right? Have a bigger area for your mouth to open up because you're going to be able to pronounce your words way better in this type of way. So learn these things. Once you start learning these things and these communication habits, you're going to be a master at communicating because there's no way anyone's going to be able to outmaneuver you in communication if you know how to deliver value at the most entertaining rate. If you know how to speak fast, if you know how to slow down, if you know how to alternate your pitches, if you know how to sound different, right? Over and over and over again. You put the reps in to practice this over and over and over and over. Eventually, it's going to become unconscious competence. This is a thing that we learn in NLP, right? Neuro-linguistic programming. This is unconscious competence. Where basically you're competent in every situation without having to be consciously aware of your speech. right? Like some people, when they speak on camera, they have to be consciously aware of the way you're speaking in order to have it perfectly aligned with the way that you're supposed to speak in the most entertaining type of way. Speech, fast speaking, you know, pitch shifts, volume, tonality, variations, right? They need to focus deliberately on this. But once you get so good at it, it starts to become unconscious, and this is just the way you speak. You can turn on the camera and you just immediately speak in the best possible type of way. Speedy, you know, emphasis on type of words. You speak with really good emotions. You have a good cadence. You have a switch up in your volume and your tonality and your pitches, and you switch things up all the time. People are going to listen to you. People are going to sit down, turn off everything, and genuinely sit there and just listen to what you have to say. Because you know how to speak, because you know how to get to their mind, because you know how to get to their emotions. You know how to leverage this, and not just get to their emotions, but then add value on top of that. How can you beat that combination? It's very difficult to beat that combination.